Hello everyone, myself Assistant Professor Vatsal Patel from Civil Engineering Department working at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center Navsari. Today we are going to discuss about dynamics of communication. So our today's topic is proxemics. So proxemics is the study of physical space in interpersonal relations. In a professional setting, space is used to signal power and status. Your gesture should be in accordance with the space available. Edward T. Hall, in his The Hidden Dimension, divides space into four distinct zones, which are mainly intimate, which range is 0 to 18 inch. Next is personal, which range is 18 inch to 4 feet. Next is social, which varies from 4 feet to 12 feet, and in case of public, it will be 12 feet to as far as one can see or hear. So, proxemics is the study of space. Non-verbal signals by the sender and the receiver initiates from various sources. One such significant source is the space around us that communicate in its own way. The experts call these features of communication as proxemics. It is the study of how we communicate with the space around us. Proxemics is also known as space language. Here, the word space means the distance of the communication between the sender and the receiver in oral communication. This distance is called proximity. Fixed space includes stable features like room size, wall, buildings, and its total capacity, corners, etc. These fixed features determine who interact with whom, how and for what purpose. In semi-fixed space, the physical features are changeable and can be rearranged. This elasticity allows us to use of a various space to perform different types of communication. For example, the equal furniture can be arranged or rearranged for a presentation in an interview or group discussion. Hence, fixed and semi-fixed space have important implications for communication. Different people make use of space around them in different ways in communication. The way people use their assigned space shows their respective places and interaction patterns. For example, people sitting in the front usually initiate conversation. People seated around a round table communicates mostly in the form of a seminar or conference. So let us see all these four types of zones. So first let us see about intimate. So these zones start with personal touch and extend just to 18 inch. Members of the family, spouses, relatives and parents fall under this zone. This zone doesn't need active conversation, only whisper is enough. A handshake, a pat on the back or a hug all comes into this zone. So if we talk about it here, very close contact is maintained within the space of 18 inches. It is the most appropriate space for use of body language as the majority of our body movements initiate within this area. Especially people like our family members, relatives and close friends comes into this space. We frequently speak in murmurs or at a low pitch to them. Within this small area, body language is important more than words. Handshake, a pat on the back, eye contact, etc. are very generally used in this space. Intimate space is much suitable for extremely private talks and decisions regarding sensitive matters. Next is personal. This zone stretches from 18 inches to 4 feet. Close friends, colleagues, peers, etc. fall in this zone. Instead of whispering sound, there can be normal conversation in this zone. Sitting or standing so close brings one closer to the listener and gives the impression of friendliness and warmth. So, if we talk about this, personal space includes 18 inches to 4 feet. It considers about the close circle of intimacy around us. We have ordinary discussion with our close friends, colleagues, and visitors. Conversation in this space is also chiefly private in nature, but it is usually relaxed and casual. True, we may take some significant decision in this area. Next is social. Social events take place in the radius of 4 feet to 12 feet. In this zone, relationships are more official. These situations involves less emotion and more planning. The number of people decides whether it should be sitting or standing position. To be authoritative with a large audience, a sitting standing position can be used. So if we talk about this, social space include 4 feet to 12 feet. This space is required frequently for formal and official relationships. The majority of the business communications occur within this circle. Communication in social space are dominated by reason and planning rather than by emotion and feelings. Thus, it is the most significant spatial measurement in business communication. Next is public. This zone starts from 12 feet and may extend to 30 feet or to the range of eyesight and hearing. Events that take place in this zone are formal. The audience is free to do whatever it feels like. The speaker has to raise his voice or use microphone to communicate. The speakers, like the Prime Minister of a country, have to maintain this distance for security reason. So if we talk about this larger circle includes beyond 12 feet. Communication in this area is extremely formal and objective. High pitch of voice is used so as to be heard by a considerably large group. Public address system may have to be used in case the space extends as far as we can see. Public announcement may have to be made on certain occasions. Election rallies are an example of public space language. So next is paralinguistics. So paralinguistics communication refers to the study of human voice and how words are spoken. The words are static on a page. Voice gives extra life to our delivery. Voice is useful to understand the characteristics of voice, namely quality, volume, rate, pitch, articulation, pronunciation, voice modulation, and pauses. So, if we talk about this, the word para means like, and it is like language but not language. We cannot fully rely on it. True, it is not a language. It helps in successful delivery of words. Paralinguistics is the form of non-verbal communication because it does not involve words. It is the way of speaking words. The way of speaking is different from person to person. It gives human touch to the words. Written words do not have that much urgency to the words because written words are static on the page. Paralanguage helps creating fluctuation so that it enhances the meaning of the spoken words. So next it is depend on mainly quality. So it is a characteristics that distinguish one voice from another. Voice quality depends on its resonating mechanism. It cannot be changed but can be trained for optimum impact. Very few people are naturally blessed with deep and resonant quality. For example, Narendra Modi. So if we talk about voice quality, voice is the most important factor of paralanguage. The voice used by a speaker discloses his education, attitude, temperament, and a general background. Voice can be pleasant or unpleasant, rich or resonant, thin or nasal, clear or unclear, and harsh or irritating. More clear the voice, more effective the communication. All the human beings have unique voice quality. No one can change the voice quality, but we can train the voice for optimum impact. Next is volume. Volume is the loudness or the softness of the voice. Voice should always project but need not always be loud. If our volume is too high, it sounds boorish and insensitive. If our volume is too low, it conveys an impression of timidity and also gives the impression that we are not well prepared and lack of confidence to express ourselves. So, if we talk about volume variations, a speaker should vary the volume to make the voice audible and clear to understand. Volume means the loudness or softness of the voice. The loudness of voice should be according to the size of the audience as well as size of the place. If the audience is more, the volume of our speech should be high, and if the audience is less, the volume should be low. The larger the audience, the higher the volume. But volume should not be too high that sound harsh or insensitive. Variation in the volume brings flexibility and vitality. With the use of variation, a speaker can express his emotion like surprise, joy, sorrow, and fear in the best positive way. If a person does not vary the volume, it sounds monotonous and flat. Next is rate or pace. So, rate is the number of words that one speaks per minute. It varies person to person and from 80 to 250 words per minute. The normal rate is 120 to 150 words per minute. If the speech is too slow and monotonous, the speaker is most likely to be considered as a dull speaker. If the speech is too fast, listeners do not get enough time to grasp the message. So, if we talk about speaking speed varies from person to person and from 80 to 250 words per minute. Rate is the number of words a person can speak per minute. A person may speak with different speed in different occasions or during different parts of the speech. All the times, it is not desirable to speak fast or slow. Speed of the speaker should be such a way that ensure fluency. Particularly, easy parts of a speech should be spoken fast as it can be easily understood, while difficult parts should be spoken slow. The normal speed is from 120 to 150 words. If a speaker speaks too slowly, he will be considered as a dull speaker, even though the content is effective and interesting. On the other hand, if the speaker speaks too fast, listener will not be able to understand the meaning of the speech. For effective presentation, speakers should use pauses in between the sentence. So next is pitch. Pitch refers to the number of variation or say vibration of our voice per second. The rise and fall of voice conveys various emotions. Thank you is such a phrase. The low pitch expresses sadness, shock, dullness, guilt, etc., while the high pitch expresses excitement, joy, and anger. So, if we talk about pitch variations, pitch means the number of variation per second of the voice. Pitch is the quality of sound governed by the rate of vibrations producing it. Speaking at length on the same level of pitch makes the speech monotonous or boring. Pitch variation is helpful to catch the attention of the listener and to maintain his interest in the speech. It is the degree of highness or lowness of a tone. Generally, high level of officers speak in a high pitched voice, while lower level employees speak in a low pitched voice. In the same way, an angry or excited person speaks in a high pitched voice, while sad or dull person speaks in a low pitched voice. For example, thank you. You can see the difference in the way it has spoken, whether sincerely or deliberately. Okay. So next is articulation. Speaker should be careful not to slop, slur, chop, truncate or omit sound between words or sentence. If all the sounds are not uttered properly, the flow of understanding gets interrupted. So if we talk about articulation, articulation word comes from the Latin word jointed. It describes as the act of joining things together to make the motion possible. Articulation is the formation of clear and distinct sounds in speech. Speakers should not truncate or omit sound between the words or sentence. If the words or sentence are not articulated properly, audience cannot grasp or understand the meaning of the message. It is the same way as written error. For example, there is a difference between I do not know and I do know. Okay. Or I want to play and I wanna play. So this type of articulation are used in our speech. Next is pronunciation. Pronunciation requires us to speak out sounds in a way that it is generally accepted. We follow British received pronunciation. One should be careful enough to pronounce individual sounds along with word stress. Whenever there is a confusion in pronunciation, always consult a good dictionary and try to pronounce it accordingly. Next is pauses. So a pause is a short silence flanked by words. It helps the listener reflect on the message and digest it accordingly. It also helps speaker glide from one thought to another. Being too self-conscious may make the process look artificial. So if we talk about pause, pause means a short silence between the words or sentences. A speaker cannot or should not speak without pausing, but pauses should be at the proper time in the speech. A pause is very helpful in focusing the upcoming topic and in gaining the attention of the audience. However, too frequent pauses can spoil the speech. To take a break between the sentence, it is a natural process. Therefore, it should be spontaneous. If the pause is deliberately taken by the speaker, it becomes artificial. A pause allows the audience to digest the meaning behind the previous sentence. It does not only help the listener but the speaker as well. Next is intonation. It is the raising and falling of the tone in voice while speaking. Okay, so proper word stress is highly important for the speaker. For example, this is my uncle's house. This is my uncle's house. This is my uncle's house. And this is my uncle's house. Okay, so in a speech, speaker can change the meaning by putting stress on a specific word. The same words we have used in each and every sentence, but the effect of all the sentences will be different from one another because the stress on the different words gives it a new meaning every time it is spoken. If a person wants to improve the skill of word stress, he should listen to good speakers, participate in discussion, English news bulletin, on radio and television, etc., the newsreaders are selected through a voice test. Therefore, their pronunciation is expected to be widely intelligible and acceptable. Next, we are going to see interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is all about the exchange of thoughts and ideas between individuals using a variety of methods, including words, tonal variation, facial expression, gesture, and body language. Interpersonal communication and the skills to relate with the other aren't just important for an individual, but they happen to be at the core of the success of an organization. When interpersonal communication in the workplace is effective, it makes operation more efficient and teamwork not only possible but also easier. The ability of the key function of a business to operate more efficiently is directly founded on the ability of the people that carry out those functions to communicate efficiently with each other. This includes such functions as the resolution of conflicts, sales, and management. Ultimately, the importance of interpersonal communication in an organization cannot be overstated. No individual can work alone. Human beings, unlike machines, cannot work without occasionally needing someone with whom to share their thoughts and feelings. We are social creatures by nature, and so we are prone to be more anxious and stressed in an isolated environment. With the right kind of interpersonal relationships, employees can even end up being more productive than they would be if they worked alone because of the scenery that comes with teamwork. Interpersonal relationships are also important for coaching. When employees have good interpersonal relationships with each other and with the manager, they are likely to recognize good work in each other and congratulate each other for it as well as help correct each other's mistakes. A simple pat on the back can go a long way when it comes to motivating an individual to do more and be more. Ultimately, some colleagues will increase to be more colleagues and will eventually become mentors. Sales are all about communication. The ability to sell is contingent upon the ability to influence others, and that all ultimately boils down to the ability to communicate. There are lots of roles that sales personnel and business leader as a whole play that are intensive in the sales aspect. This include communicating with the clients, the employee, and even each other. While employees coming into the organization are expected to have a certain minimum level of training as evidenced by their academic qualifications, they will still have to undergo significant training while in the organization in order to be equipped with the company operations, specific company-centric skills, and the organizational culture of the company. In short, effective communication is the cornerstone of any successful business, and to be a good communicator, you need interpersonal skills. They are necessary for establishment of relationships between yourself and your workmates, which leads to a mutual exchange of ideas, information, and skills. Next is intercultural communication. Intercultural communication skills are those required to communicate or share information with people from other culture and social groups. While language skills may be an important part of intercultural communication, they are by no means the only requirements. Intercultural communication also requires an understanding that different cultures have different customs, standards, social mores, and even thought patterns. The way we communicate is determined strongly by the culture we groomed in. There are several aspects of communication which differ from culture to culture. Such differences may determine how loud or low we talk, the amount of emotions we express in various situations, the use of avoidance of silence, the prevalence or absence of a particular non-verbal or verbal prerequisite, and a series of defining signals which we may emit through our manners, facial expression, posture, eye contact, tone, and pitch of our speech. These days, companies are doing business more and more in a global context. The people that matter in any business, including the suppliers, the client, and the employee, may belong to different culture and may even be located in foreign countries. The need for effective and clear intercultural communication is becoming vital in securing success in today's global workplace. Greater understanding of intercultural differences, etiquettes, protocol, and communication will certainly lead to a much higher probability of achieving business goals. To increase the values and marketability of your company and of yourself, it's important to adopt the mindset of someone who knows how to navigate the industry and understand different worldviews. Intercultural communication training is one of the best ways to accomplish this and can be achieved through a variety of international studies graduate programs. The more individuals adjust and adapt with cultural sensitivity and intelligence to the needs of the environment, the more companies will find exactly what they are looking for, a culturally competent and sought after business professional. So here I end my session. Thank you all of you.